Hey everybody, welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance. Time to introduce you to Brixton Metals. We have the CEO with us, Gary Thompson. Lots to talk about when it comes to your company. Gary, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Hey Jody, yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's get right to what BBB, that's the symbol on the TSX venture. What is BBB all about? What is Brixton Metals?
I like to say, buy Brixton big.
I like
what is
that.
it? Yeah, what is it all about? I mean, we're a junior exploration company focused on developing some really exciting precious and base metal projects, copper, gold, silver, large scale assets, drilling as much as we can, as quickly as we can to get these assets moved along the development curve to feed into this whole demand cycle that we're seeing for metals in the electrification part of this, decarbonization, green movement that we're seeing globally. And we think we have the assets that can provide some of that feed. And we're excited because we're a small company with a massive growth profile in front of us.
So you've got BC, Montana, and Ontario, and give us your most massive. I love when you're saying we're a small company with massive growth.
Yeah, it's
projects.
I'm blown away, and I've been on this project for 10 years, and we continue to find new and exciting target areas. So we have this project in northern BC called Thorn. That was our listing property 10 years ago. Of course, we had to suffer through one of the deepest, broadest downturns of the mining cycle, but we've come out the other side, and now we're starting to see capital inflow into the sector, and we've got, for our company, the biggest budget we've seen in many years. So we're excited to be drilling, and we're in there early to mid-May and pushing snow around and getting at it early, and we're drilling deep holes for copper, gold, porphyry, big systems. And what we're finding is that we've got many, we believe that there's more than one mine here. There's multiple. There's such a big area that we're just kind of just getting started, really. But we're excited to get the crews going. Everybody's chomping at the bit to, get out there and start drilling, and we'll see what we can discover this year. It's all about discovery, the art of the discovery for us this year.
The art of the discovery. Well put. Very eloquent there. What are the unique challenges with the remote sites? You mentioned we're moving snow around to dig deep here. What are some of the challenges, and how are you tackling that?
Well, that is a challenge, isn't it? It's old man winter. Luckily, he was a little bit kind to us this last winter, but the winter before that, he was not so kind, and we had a 300% snowpack the previous winter. So areas that we wanted to get to, we couldn't get to because it's like, oh, let's go check it out now. Nah, still too much snow. It's kind of a odd situation, because while we're seeing some areas that are glaciers are receding, and we're actually making new discoveries because there's new mineralization being exposed that wasn't exposed before. So that's been interesting and exciting. But then we're also seeing crazy winters like we've seen, and so that's been a challenge. So it's a seasonal operation. We get in there early in the year, and this fact will be the earliest we've ever started drilling. We'll be drilling by maybe the 20th of May. Which normally June is good and safe, but so it's kind of a May till October seasonal operation. So that's part of the challenge as a junior mining company. You're working 5-6 months of the year, and
really hard.
Why we have these other projects,
right?
Jurisdictionally, like Ontario and Montana, where we can work in maybe off season to this Thorn project, which has its it's a great project, but it's something that we can, maybe down the road as these things become more advanced and you're working towards mine development, then you can operate all year. But right now it's not worth the extra cost.
But it's a good opportunity to buy Brixton big, and as you say, and get in there. I want to reiterate to our listener, our viewer, Gary Thompson is the CEO. Brixton Metals is the company we're talking about. It is BBB. The stock symbol is BBB on the TSX-V. So you've told us about northern BC. I want to talk a little bit about Hog Heaven. Tell me about Montana.
That's a great ring for a mining project.
Love it.
Hog Heaven, they're hogging it out, baby. Hogging it out. So this is a really interesting project, and if people have been got some gray hair and they lived through a couple of these downturns in the mining cycle, that's when you want to get assets. You want to pick these things up and nobody wants them. Why? Because you can get them for a reasonably low price. And we did just that. We acquired this project in 2017. the bottom was 2015, because believe me, I've been there and lived through it. It was bottom. And so we acquired it close to the bottom of the market for a sweetheart deal, I would say. And we spent a couple million on it and struck a amazing deal with Robert Friedland's Ivanhoe Electric, which is going to be their new US platform to develop battery metals. That's the name, Ivanhoe Electric. So all the metals for the electrification of our civilization is what they're after there. And this was an exciting project because it was a mine, a small scale, high grade mine, just some direct shipped ore that they moved out of there. It was really mostly a silver gold play. And it was an advanced stage feasibility, build the mine in the late 80s. 89, I think they had the feasibility and the green light and permit to build the mine. Then 1990 hit, classic mining cycle. There was a decade of low gold silver prices where it sat idle, so nothing happened there. And then, so they're actively drilling that this season, I believe. We think there's big discovery potential there, even though it was mainly a silver or gold play. We believe there's significant copper there as well. And so we're excited to have a group like Robert Friedland's guys work on this project, because they're world-renowned discovery pros. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some joy coming out of that. So we got that nice opportunity for us that we're not funding, they're operating. We're not having to divert our talents on another project, which is also helpful, given that we think we should be focused 100% on Thorn right now. Right. But that's a nice bonus for shareholders coming in. Well, and again, they're just getting going on drilling. So this season, we're going to have a lot of news flow from multiple projects.
Well, you were mentioning, because that was silver, gold, copper, but what about cobalt? Take us to Ontario and tell us a little bit more about the Cobalt project.
Yeah, let's go to Cobalt Camp, Ontario, by the way, which has generated, and this is a fact, the highest grade cobalt numbers in the world. Also some of the highest silver. It's actually a silver camp that produced over 500 million ounces of silver, of high grade silver, native silver, by the way, which only 27% of the global mines are native silver, which is basically pure silver. You can peel some silver. And the old miners used to peel silver off the wall, if you can believe it. Nice foil silver. They would just, that was their bonus for the shift. They'd get some high grade silver in the bag, take it home for mama.
What a great story. Oh my goodness.
The Cobalt was interesting because it's a town of Cobalt, even though they mostly mine silver. And we're taking a look at it. And we did some work in 2018. We've had it since about 2016 as part of an offset to our seasonality issue at Thorn. We've had some really good success on the drilling, both for high grade silver and for cobalt. We've had some really high grade, multi-% cobalt numbers. And so this year we've kind of taken a step back and said, you know what? It's a brand new project. I've never seen this before. Let's start over and relook at this thing. And we did some remodeling and came up with some interesting ideas. It's just a unique thing that they call it the 5 metal veins, but and that the joke is that you can never get all 5 metals together at the same zone, perhaps. But we're seeing that the cobalt and nickel actually hold together. We actually have nickel there too, which nobody talks about. And the silver is there, but they don't necessarily correlate, which it's kind of a geological puzzle that we're trying to sort out. So we think we have a cobalt nickel domain that we're going to test. We're doing some geophysics next week starting. And then this fall, we plan, once Thorn is done, maybe September, October, we can shift gears over to that project and test this nickel cobalt theory. And does this domain hold together? Can we build something? And could we make a new discovery that, because nobody's looked at it? And by the way, nobody's ever assayed for palladium and platinum group metals, which are also very exciting for the the electrical
electrification. Yeah, and, for sure.
Rhodium and palladium, those metals are doing very well price wise. So if we could get some of those kind of credits, that may add to the story. But we haven't even assayed for those kind of metals there. Nobody's really looked at it. So we're trying to reinvent the project, if you will, with a nickel cobalt angle. We know the silver there. We're going to continue to work on some of the silver targets because there's some bonanza grade silver. I don't want to discount those, but trying to have a relook at it that maybe can pull a rabbit out of the hat, if you will, on that project. So that's a late 2022 story. But it's
exciting though, because I mean, headlines around the world. I'm no mining expert, but I am a journalist. I do interviews for a living, and when speaking about tensions rising in the global trade community, and there being sanctions in some areas of the world, without getting too deep into the news cycle, ever more important that some of these electrification metals that you're speaking to, these resources that are right here in Canada or in North America, so important.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it blows me away that Canada is sitting on our hands. We could be a commodity superpower. With Canada has all the resources that everybody needs. We have them all here, but we don't exploit them. There's no manufacturing. There's no value add. You know, let's cut a raw log and send it out and buy back, you know,
the
furniture
wood
for overpriced stuff.
Yeah.
But we have everything. Canada has all the resources. We could export oil. We've got the largest oil reserve, one of the largest oil reserves in the world. We also have almost every commodity you can think of. Why aren't we taking advantage of it? I'm really frustrated with our leaders in Canada that don't see our potential in Canada, and there should be no reason why people are unemployed in Canada.
Right, but it starts, honestly, Gary, I love this conversation because it is the heart of this matter is investing in getting the raw materials in order to create the demand and then build from there. Because waiting for the elected officials to take the reins and make it happen, it's people like you, it's people like the geologists who work with you alongside you and are trying to build from within this country and build out ethically too. I mean, there's that piece of the puzzle when you're that's a big part of what these conversations end up having is people are looking for local, mindful, direct, not pump and dump, right? Sustainable,
clean renewables. I mean, we've got, like I say, we have all the resources in Canada, and we're just, you know, low population with a massive land bank with resources, like you name it, like get into the renewables, geothermal, not even tapping geothermal. We could run Canada on the geothermal potential. Nuclear, I'm glad to see nuclear starting to get a bit of a bid. We could be global leaders in, you know, safe, sustainable, reliable sources of commodities, and yet we're willing to not produce them and buy them from, you know, offshore. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, we'll ship them here. Like that doesn't come with
more,
a big
but
footprint.
don't have a job for the Canadians. Don't give the jobs to the Canadians to go develop these projects. Give it to somebody else.
It's
like
really
we need to stay in Canada more and start developing our own resources in our backyard, which they're plentiful, believe me. But what's that saying? Believe you me.
Believe you me. You know what? I feel like this is going to be the first of many conversations we have, Gary. I'm glad that we had a chance to sort of introduce Brixton Metals to our First Glance with Jody Vance audience. The symbol BBB on the TSX-V. The CEO is Gary Thompson. Do you have a website where people can go to and perhaps find out more?
Sure do. Yeah, brixtonmetals.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And yeah, buy Brixton big. I really appreciate it, Jody. It was good chatting, and let's keep in touch.
Okay, pal. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.